Welcome to New Arts, Commerce and Science College, Ahmednagar. I, Professor Dr. Rahul Dagudu Thorat, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, New Arts, Commerce and Science College, Ahmednagar. Today we discuss about the new one topic in IPR, that is Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001. Introduction for about this topic, that is Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001. Plant genetic resources are vital for the survival of humanity as they serve as a sources of genetic variation to create new varieties of plants for food, fiber, fodder, forest and industrial use. Traditionally, plant breeders including farming community, forest dwellers, nurture and this diversity made selection to produce plants of use since millennia. Modern plant breeders collected genetic diversity through exploration in biodiversity. Rich zones use different tools to increase the value for cultivation. Plant breeders' rights are therefore a means to recognize their contribution and create ecosystem that sustain innovation continuum. Can establish mechanism to exert responsible stewardship over germ plots, support long-term research and development that enhance agriculture productivity, promote plant breeding in a public or a private sector and provide high quality seeds or a planting materials to the farmers. The Protection of a Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001, which compiles with the Agreement on TRIPS, seeks to stimulate investment for research and development both in public and private sector for the development of new plant varieties by ensuring appropriate return on such investment. Now, after this introduction, that is scope of the Protection of Plant Variety Farmers' Rights Act 2001. We know that the agriculture is a backbone of the Indian economy. Most of the population belongs to agriculture sector. In India, agriculture research, including the development of new plant varieties, has largely been concern of the government and public sector institutions. Earlier, India did not have any legislation or any act to protect the plant varieties. In fact, no immediate need was felt. The Intellectual Property Rights Agreement in 1994, such a legislation was necessitated. Article 27.3b of this agreement requires the members of countries to provide for the protection of the plant varieties, either by patent or by an effective sui generis system. So that sui generis system, it is a type of a protection system that exists outside of the established framework. So in this act, it covers all these categories of a plants except microorganism. The genera and species of the varieties for the protection shall be notified through gazette. After this, appropriate rules by laws are framed for the enforcement of this act. Next part, that is features of this PPVFR Act 2001, Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001. The first features of this act, the act is based on sui generis system and is unique sense that is concurrently recognizes the rights of breeders, rights of farmers, or farmers' communities and researchers. It is licensed to produce the seeds or a planting materials for a marketing purpose or a import and export of these commodities to the other nations at a international market. Second features, that is, provides compulsory license to registered varieties. If the seeds or propagating materials is not available to public in market, so that it should be provided at a reasonable price at a mass quantities. Third features, any person or a group of persons can be claimed for the benefit sharing. If the plant genetic materials or resources belonging to them to use in the development of a registered varieties, so they are sharing their benefits. Next features, establish and secure the farmer's right. India is a pioneer country where national legislation has been enacted to establish and secure the farmers' rights. And next feature, that is agro-biodiversity conservation. The Act also recognizes the past, present and future contribution to the farming communities and provides an opportunity for the awards to farmers and their contribution to agro-biodiversity conservation. So these are the features of this PPVFR Act 2001. Now, objectives of this PPVFR Act 2001. The first objective is that to establish an effective system for protection of plant varieties, then rights of a farmers and plant breeders, and to encourage the development of a new varieties of plants. So this act also motivating to the farmers in terms of motivating or encouraging for the development of a new plant varieties. Second thing is that, or second objective is to recognize the protect the rights of the farmers in respect of their contribution made at any time in conserving, improving and making available the plant genetic resources or materials for the development of a plant varieties. Third objectives, to protect the plant breeders' rights to stimulate the investment for a research and development, or both in a public and private sector for the development of a new plant varieties. Fourth one objectives is that to facilitate the growth of seed industry in country that will ensure the availability of a high quality seeds and planting materials to the farmers, so that this law also supporting toward the industry in terms of to producing the quality seeds or quality planting materials toward the agriculture area. Some important concept or terminologies is very important to understand some legal provisions of this act. The first, plant variety. A plant grouping except microorganism within single botanical taxon of the lowest known rank, which can be defined by the expression of these characteristics resulting from a given genotype of a plant of that plant grouping. So distinguished from any other plant grouping by expression of at least one of the said features or a characteristics. Considered as a unit with regard to its suitability for being propagated, which remains unchanged after such a propagation, and it includes propagating materials of such variety, extant variety, transgenic varieties, farmers varies and essentially derive this variety. So this is a concept of a plant variety. Second term, that is extant variety. A variety available in India which is notified under Section 5 of Seeds Act 1966 or farmers variety. A variety about which there is a common knowledge or any other variety which is in a public domain. This is a concept of a extinct type of variety. Third, essentially derived variety. A variety shall be said to be essentially derived when it is a predominantly derived from such initial variety or from a variety that itself, while retaining an expression of the essential characteristics that results from the genotype or combination of a genotypes of such a initial variety. Farmers. Definition of a farmers. Any person who cultivate the crops by cultivating the land himself, or cultivate the crops by directly supervising the cultivation of a land through any other persons, or conserves and preserves severally or jointly with any persons any wild species or traditional varieties of agriculture plants, or adds values to such a wild species or traditional varieties through. Next, that is seeds. Seeds is means a type of a living embryo or a propagule capable of regeneration and giving rise to plant which is true as such a type. The materials which are cultivating by the farmers in agriculture. Germplasm. These are living genetic resources such as seeds or tissues that are maintained for the purpose of animals and plant breeding, preservations and other research uses. New plant varieties. A new plant varieties refers to a previously known group of plants that can be consistently distinguished from any other similar group of plants, generation after generation. These new plants are not discovered in a wild, but they are result of a human plant breeding efforts. So these are the some terminologies of this used in PPVFR Act 2001. Another part, that is a procedure of registration. In this legal procedures of a registration of a plant varieties under this IPR, so that the section 14, 15 and 16 are related to filling the varieties which can be registered, criteria of a registration of such varieties and persons who can fill an application for their registration. Application for registration of plant varieties and its denomination can be made as discussed in following sections. The section 14's application for registration. Any person specified in section 16 may make an application to the registrar for registration of any variety. The first, of such genera and species are specified under subsection 2 of section 29. To mention the specific genera and species which are registered, which is an extant variety, of a plant also mentioned, and third, which is a farmer's variety. Section 17, compulsory variety denomination. So in this section, every application shall assign a single and distinct denominations to a variety with respect to which he is seeking registrations under this act in accordance with their regulations. The authority shall, having regard to the provisions of any international conventions or treaty to which India has become a party, make regulations governing the assignments of denominations to a variety. Third is that where the denomination assigned to the variety does not satisfy the requirements specified in the regulations, the registrar may require the applicants to propose another denomination within such a time as may be specified by such regulations. Notwithstanding anything contained in Trademarks Act 1999 and 47, 1999, a denomination assigned to variety shall not be registered as a trademark under that act. Section 18, forms of application. So every application for registrations under section 14 shall be with respect to variety of a plant, state the denomination assigned to such variety by the applicants. Third, be accompanied by an affidavit sworn by the applicants that such variety does not contain any gene or gene sequence involving terminator technology. Be in such a form as may be specified by regulations. Contain a complete passport data of the parental lines from which the variety has been derived, along with geographical locations in India from where the genetical materials has been taken, and all such information which are related to the contribution, if any, of any farmers, village, community, institutions or organizations in breeding, evolving or developing the variety. Be accompanied by statement containing brief description of this variety, bringing out its characteristics of novelty, distinctiveness, uniformity, and stability as required for registration. Be accompanied by such a fees it may be prescribed. To fill the requisite fees, then contain a declaration that genetic material or a parental material acquired for breeding, evolving, developing the variety has been lawfully acquired. And B, accompanied by such other particulars may be prescribed, provides that in case where the application is for registrations of farmers variety, nothing contained in clause B to first shall apply in respect of the application, and the application shall be in such a forms as may be prescribed. So that every applications referred to subsection first shall be filled in the office of the registrar. Where such application is made by virtue of succession or an assignment of the rights to apply for registration, there shall be furnished at this time of making the applications or within the some period after making the applications as may be prescribed proof to right to make their applications. Now in sections 19 is also there to test to be conducted. So every applicant shall, along with the applications for registration made under this act, make available to the registrar such quantity of seeds of a variety for registration of which such application is made for the purpose of conducting to test to evaluate whether the seed of such variety along with some parental materials conform to the standards as may be specified by the regulations. Then the applicant shall deposit such a fees as may be prescribed for conducting tests referred to the subsection first. The test referred to subsection first shall be conducted in such a manner and by such a method it may be prescribed. Thank you. So this is a PPVFR Act. So in these sessions we had learned the introduction for about this Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001, then features of this act, then a scope, some terminologies and registrations of a plant varieties under this act 2001. Now we shall stop here. Thank you.